Is anyone else excited to see crazy 300% defense crons all season long? Not this guy. What's up, Knights of Vex, and welcome to another best 3v3 Grand Arena video for the month of June and July. This is going to be a crazy Grand Arena season because we just have the introduction to the new Datacron set with brand new focus Datacrons, which are going to really be impressive on defense, way more impactful than the previous set. I am looking forward to it, but also not looking forward to it because in my neck of the woods, I'm going to be seeing some crazy defense Datacrons with over 300%, and that is not a fun time. But for today, we're going to talk about the best 3v3 squads for offense, defense, and a category that I like to include called flex, where it depends on what you're trying to go for the matchup, that you can go on either offense or defense, so I put them in the flex category. Now, what I'm going to do a little bit differently this month is, I know a lot of the player base do not have any of the new characters unlocked fully, like they don't have the new Darkside clones, they're not going to have Legendary Mace, or anything like that, so I'm not going to include certain of the new characters coming out like Mace yet, because that is going to come way later on, but I'm going to show different variations of teams for players that don't have these new characters unlocked. For example, like Darth Vader or Lord Vader with the new clones. That is a very brand new pay-to-win team, or pay-to-play team, as I should say correctly, that I will include on one list, and I'll have the OG Lord Vader version on the new list, or a different type of list. So I'm going to be seeing, you're going to see a couple of duplicates in different areas, but that is the reason why I'm doing it. But hopefully this is helpful for you guys. If you do enjoy my content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's mount that algorithm. Let's get this out to everybody. It's a great way to support me and help me out. But with that said, guys, we are going to start with the best defensive teams and see what I came up with. So let's go check it out. To start out the best defensive teams list, we have to talk about the best Datacron in the game currently with Rey Darkside Vision. When I tell you this Datacron is bonkers and there's not going to be a ton of counters right out the bat, I am not kidding. This will by far be the best team in Grand Arena by far in defense, besides the Lord Vader clones. The Focus Datacron completely transforms to the First Order team, gives them unlimited ramping critical damage. Rey's going to be taking tons of bonus damage turns with her big AoEs. This is going to be no joke. And with the amount of defense on this, you're going to need a very good team or a specific comp for it to work against. But if you have this Datacron, there is no doubt this needs to go on defense. It's going to be the best team in Grand Arena by far. So highly recommend that one for defense. Then next we have to talk about Lord Vader with the clones. We had a little bit of a run with this in the last 3v3 season. Very difficult. I found the Vegito counter with Starkiller and Malicos not to be super consistent. It is really dependent if they have a very high critical damage or armor pen Datacron. So I was about 50-50 with that counter. So that will definitely gate some people and stop a lot of Grand Arena runs. Very destructive team, not that many counters, might have to take out Leia for it, and Leia is needed for a ton of other teams, so it is really no joke. If you have Lord Vader with Apo and CX2 and the Omicron, that's the team you got to place. Then we have to move on to Ahsoka Tano, guys, and if you guys haven't seen recently, I posted a video about Great Mothers absolutely destroying Ahsoka on defense in 3v3, especially with Ahsoka in the comp. So I do not recommend putting Ahsoka with, or Ezra with Ahsoka, because they're going to get destroyed by Great Mothers if you have that team modded correctly. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll leave that video in the description down below for you guys too to check it out. It's extremely helpful. But for this season, I'm feeling Ahsoka Tano with Watt and Barriss, and this is not going to be like a heavy damage team. This is more of an annoyance kind of team. So my mentality with here is Watt is going to get the bonus turn, put that annoying tank tech on Ahsoka. Barriss is going to have those crazy amounts of heal, have the damage reduction on the level 6. Going to have to go for Barriss first because she's going to revive the team, or last, and that's very difficult because you're going to have to constantly hit Ahsoka. This is a crazy timeout team, and, for example, let's say your opponent tried to use Bane against Ahsoka, and right off the bat they kill your Wat Tambor. They're eventually going to get around to killing Barriss first before Ahsoka. That means that Wat Tambor is going to revive and get all that health and protection, and I believe turn meter, if I remember correctly, and put the tank on Ahsoka. It's going to be a very annoying team to deal with. If your opponent is using a Galactic Legend against this, that's a win for you. But my real mentality here is to cause annoyance for more of the non-GL counters. So I think Barriss is home in 3v3 for this season. is going to be Ahsoka Tano. I don't think Barris will perform as good with Rey, because with Malakos, he prevents revive, so that's going to completely shut down that counter. If you're using Bane, you're going to have to use the Sith anti-revive. That'll probably shut it down. But if you don't have a lot of armor pen on that Datacron, you might have a really hard time dealing with this team. So that is what I'm recommending for Barris. I know that was a lot of info, but that's my mentality with the Ahsoka Tano team with Barris. And that leaves to the next team, and that's going to be Rey with Ezra. And I really think that Ezra's home is really for Rey. Until there's a certain set, maybe we'll find out this set, until Ezra really has a true purpose with Ahsoka that shuts down the off meta, I cannot justify putting Ezra with Ahsoka right now. I think Rey with Ben and Ezra is a way more annoying team. If your go-to counters don't work right off the bat, you're doomed. You're gonna get stuck. If your Malakos Starkiller team doesn't work, you're done. If your Leia team doesn't work, you're screwed. There's not many counters to this team. And if you guys throw in a new Datacron set with a bunch of defense, or a Zalbar-focused Datacron, very difficult to get through. Not many players are going to be able to get through it. So that's going to be another one of the best teams in the game for Grand Arena. Then we got to talk about Tarkin, guys. And this we have absolutely no data on. But if you have the Omicrons on Tarkin and Scorch, I could definitely picture this being an extremely difficult team to take out. They have a Datacron for clones this set. And Scorch has a level 9 where he's going to be removing turn meter if he loses taunt. That's going to have great synergy with, Tarkin, ramping up potency with all that big, massive damage. We're going to have to see what can take this out, but I really think it's going to require a pretty tough team. I have them at Relic 9 because I'm ready for the new raid. I really wanted to get them up and running. So I do think if you guys have Tarkin and the new Darkside clones up and running, this is the team you want to go for, and the Omicron is going to be really nice to throw on. Then the next really good team, I think, for this season is going to be Jar Jar, back on defense with Tarpals. That level 9 with the level 6 paired is going to be disgusting. Those AoEs are going to one-shot teams. So is it easy to get to the generator? Absolutely. But if you have Boss Nass, Jar Jar, and Tarpals, the amount of damage output from Tarpals with those bombs going to be insane. So I do think that Jar Jar is back on defense this season, specifically because of the Datacron, and that's going to be the level 6, where it's 100% more damage. Be ready to be tilted by Gungans this season, because I know I am. Then we have the Mandalorians, and the good thing about this is they have a Datacron set this season, so this team is only going to get stronger. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about the Datacron for them. I really still think that Gar Saxon is the best level 9 for them. The out-of-a-turn attacks are only going to amplify their damage with Imperial Super Commando. I don't think the disruptive bonus turn with Super Commando is going to be that impressive. Not a heavy damage dealer on his turns. Really all dependent about the out-of-attack turns. And with the Gar Saxon level 9, I think that's the way to go. So if you guys do have this team intact with the Lord Vader Empire clones, this is what I would do for defense. I think it's going to be really strong. Then Balin, guys. And Balin, I was debating on putting in the flex because Balin is really good at taking out of like Galactic Legends like Kenobi. But I do think that Balin causes major annoyance for many teams. And a lot of players use JML to try to get rid of this, or Bane. And JML has a very big focused Datacron this set with Hermit Yoda, so many players might consider that overkill for him, but I still think Balin is going to cause a lot of issues on defense. The Sidious solo is no longer working. I do like Balin on defense this season. Then we got to talk about the one character that causes so many issues for me all the time, and that's Saw Gerrera, paired with Rex and Luthen. I think it's a very obnoxious team. The level 6 synergizes really well with Saw's leadership ability, where he throws those bombs. Captain Rex has an AoE with a bunch of debuffs. They are going to be dealing a lot of damage. Saw is so good paired with Luthen and with both Omicrons attached. A very dangerous team. Now, if you don't want to use Captain Rex there, you can use Bodhi Rook's level 9 as well. Or, as long as you have the level 6, you could throw in Bodhi Rook there. I don't have the character geared up, so that is why I'm throwing him as a 4th here. But if you don't want to use that, you can use Captain Rex or even Kyle Katarn if you really want to. But I'll show you a different team down below if you wanted to do that, but that's just an example. I have to bring up Tuskens because Tuskens are still a very obnoxious team in 3v3. If you don't have the right comp to take out the sides at the same time, you're going to time out and you're going to get tilted. This has happened to me plenty of times in the past. I don't want it to happen to you, but if you do put them on defense, very strong, very annoying. Then we have Zori Finn, and their viability is going down a little bit because we no longer have the 25% turn meter and the smuggler level 6, but that doesn't mean they're a team that can be taken lightly. Afra still has a focused Datacron, and if you're using Afra against the Zori, that's a win for your opponent because that's an insane overkill. So you're going to have to figure out a different counter for this. Sidious solo could get it done sometimes if you can, if you're able to get them to stick to 6 dots, but it's not always a guarantee. So you could catch your opponent off if you have a well-modded resistance team that can probably stop that Sidious solo. Then we have Trench, and Trench I think is better on defense than offense because he's more of a questionable, like, what do I use against you kind of thing. Paired with the Django level 9, I believe he has the level 9 this season, and the Dooku level 9 as well. So this could definitely cause your opponent to question what to use against it, and could get you some holds or even strip some banners. So very annoying team. Then we have to talk about Grievous. Grievous has a exclusive level 9 where he's going to be dealing 50% more damage whenever an ally takes a turn. Paired with the staff Omicron, Grievous is going to be hitting like an absolute truck. You cannot take it lightly. Very strong team. And this team is kind of exciting. And the reason I put it towards the bottom is because not many players are going to have this. Jedi Temple Guardian is a very pay-to-play kind of character at the moment. But I still think it's going to be really well paired with Keller and Beck and Jocasta Nu. If you have the Omicron applied, some characters are going to be held captive. So you're going to be down a character for a very long time. So, very strong team. Jocasta Nu might actually have some defensive viability this season, so I'm really excited to see that. Then we have the Krennic focused Datacron, and I think if you guys are maxing out that Datacron and not using the support level 12 anywhere, I think this team could be pretty interesting and catch some players off guard. I might be able to shut down Rogue One if they're permanently ability blocked. Like, Rogue One is very dependent on the big moves, and if you can't get that big move because you're perma ability blocked, that's going to be tilting. Short Trooper's going to have a revive. Death Trooper's going to have an assist. This could definitely catch people off guard. I'm kind of excited to try it. I'm not getting the level 15 Datacron on week 1, but maybe down the line in the season, this could be pretty fun. So if you guys are going for it, I would try it out. And then the last team I'm recommending for defense is going to be the Rex clones, and this is kind of going back to the Saw team. If you have the Bodhi Rook level 9 and you want to use it for that team, you can use the Rex clones here. They have a very decent Datacron, but they get the bonus turn on a kill. Match that with a ton of defense. 5s is very difficult to kill. So if you have a 300% defense clone cron with the bonus turn, they're going to be a very tough team to take out. Not as easy as you're thinking. I think this team is making a comeback on defense because of the set stats as well as the level 6 and the 5's level 9. So that is going to wrap up the defense, guys. We're now going to move on to the offensive list and see what I put there. Starting out the offensive list, I have to talk about Leia, and I think Leia is way better on offense this season because of how much value she brings to taking out these meta teams. She is almost exclusively used for me personally to take out Lord Vader or Rey, and back in the day, Ahsoka. So the toughest question in Grand Arena is almost like, what am I going to use my Leia on? Because she is so good offensively, one of the probably the best offensive Galactic Legend in the game. So her value on offense this season is going to be so important. I highly recommend her for offense. If you put her on defense, she can be taken out by a number of different squads, like Bane, even Boba Fett Sign of Django with the Datacron can take out a Leia. So you don't want that to happen. You need to use her on offense. Then we have to talk about Jabba, and in my opinion, Jabba just cannot be put on defense until this Afro-focused Datacron goes away. It's way too easy. We just lost the Hutt Cartel level 6, which means their viability is going down in terms of power there. And on defense, they're just going to be countered way too easily. It's not going to be a good time for Jabba. Hopefully, Jabba on offense could be a pretty good counter for Balin. So, this is going to be the team I recommend for Jabba on offense. Probably going to be helpful. Then we got to talk about this guy. And this guy actually cost me a bunch in 5v5. Not as good in 5v5. But in 3v3, I think that's where he's going to shine the most. I was able to do a bunch of solos last season. I soloed a Balin in the beginning before they fixed it. I soloed a Zori Resistance team. I soloed a Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team. So he is going to have a high banner potential for offensive viability. And just all I'm going to recommend here is don't try to, go for teams that you're not comfortable with. Try to go for those go-to, like I know Sidious is going to solo it, because those failed solos could cost you the Grand Arena. But if the counter works, really worth it in your favor. Then we got to talk about Boba Fett, Sign of Django with his Datacron. We know how good it is. This takes out Leia. It takes out Jabba easily. Really good against the Saw team. Don't put it on defense. It destroys the level 15. But these Bounty Hunter Rule of 2 are going to be insane and very good. So if you guys have it, you got to use it. Then we're going to go for like all three here. And these are all situational. Obviously, you can use Sith Eternal with Darth Bane. Freaking powerhouse of a team. Insane, destructive, very good. But in my personal preference, I like to split them up because you get way more out of it. Sith Eternal solo is what I like. And then I like to use Bane with either Sith Assassin or Sith Empire Trooper. That is by far the best split, in my opinion, for these guys. But if you feel like you can't get through a very tough Ahsoka team with Ezra, and you don't have your Great Mother counter up and running, then Sith Eternal Bane are very good at taking them out. Then we're going to move on to JMK, and I think JMK is going to be a better offensive Galactic Legend this season. On defense, way too easily countered by Balin. Now, in 5v5 previous season, I had a hard time against Kenobis with high armor pen. There's not as much armor pen on the newer set. There is on the old set, but I don't think many players are going to have for the Kenobi team a very high armor pen. But if you do, it could shut down Inquisitors. It could. But I still think that JMK on offense is way better. If your opponent decided to bring Balin on offense and you set Kenobi on defense, that's an easy 57 for them. So that is why I'm recommending JMK for offense. Then over here, a little shout out to the players that don't have the new Darkside clones yet. If you guys have an OG Lord Vader team intact, I'm recommending Lord Vader with Thrawn and Maul on offense with that Maul level 9. He could be ramping up his damage, meaning bigger stuff on his Anguish, bigger hits on his AoE and on his basic. So that could come in handy in tough battles against like Jabba or something like that. So, and Vader on defense without the clones are just way too easily countered by Bo-Katan. So I'm not going to recommend him on defense. But if you have this team available, recommending it on offense. Then we got to talk about JML, and I know JML has an exclusive focus Datacron, but I do not think that Datacron is going to make JML a defensive viable team, in my opinion. If Luke takes a turn, yeah, he's going to go bananas and go like 3 turns in a row. But if you go in with Inquisitors and you ability block Luke, that's not going to matter. He's not going to be able to do any of his turns. I think Inquisitors are still going to walk over JML. I don't want to put so much investment into a focus Datacron just for JML to be taken out by Inquisitors. So that's why I'm recommending JML on offense with Luke and Hermit Yoda. You get the level 9 synergy with Luke and the level 15 synergy with Hermit Yoda. They're going to get the Foresight through Hermit Yoda. Tons of damage. Luke's going to take those bonus turns. Very strong team. Then we got to talk about my codename Vegito team, which is a super unaligned Force User powerhouse team with Starkiller and Malicos. Unfortunately, in my neck of the woods, and what I'm recommending for you guys, is that these two are just way better combined than split. Back in the day, I would love to use a Emperor Palpatine Mara Jade Starkiller team, but they just simply can't cut it as much anymore against Rey with Ezra, but they can pull it off with Malicos attached. I hate to do it, but it really is the way to go for the future. Seer, Starkiller, Malicos are the deadly trio together. Then we have Bo-Katan Mandalore, and Bo-Katan is very good on offense. She can take out a bunch of different teams, can take out an OG Lord Vader team, take out a number of different stuff. The problem is that she doesn't get the banner recovery because she's not paired with OG Bo, but they're very good at taking out a Great Mother squad as well. Bo is still a very good epic confrontation character. I just don't want her to be beaten easily on defense by like Traya or something, so that's why I like her on offense. And then here, I always include Night Sisters for a specific reason of the Jabba counter. I personally don't ever run it, but if you have the Marin Omicron and you have the speed and mods all set up correctly, this is a GL Jabba killer. So if you guys do have that team attacked, very good. I always include Radis and Dark Trooper Moff Gideon together because if you do see a Dark Trooper Moff Gideon on defense, Radis is very good at taking him out. They have good banner recovery. You get a big hit. They can sometimes take out Tuskens as well. So Radis is still a viable offensive team. And DTMG, I like to include because you might still be able to take out a General Grievous squad. It just depends if they get their train running and you're able to take a turn. That's why I like Dark Trooper Moff Gideon on offense. But that is going to wrap up the offensive list, guys. We're now going to get into the fun category of the flex, where you can use these teams on either offense and defense throughout the season, and they're still going to have a use. So let's go check that out. Time to move on to the flex category, and that is by far one of my favorite categories because this is like all the teams that you can really work with all around through the season on offense and defense. The first one I'm recommending is Dr. Aphra. This is a very strong defensive team. It's not easily taken out by many teams. It almost requires a GL at times. Remember, I had to use the Vegito team. I think Gungans failed me once. So Dr. Aphra on defense is still strong, but is going to be an absolute Jabba destroyer on offense as well. So depending on where you put Aphra, you're going to get your use as long as you have the focus Datacron. Now, this is the first time that I'm including Queen Amidala in the flex category instead of defense, and it's specifically because of the support cron. Guys, I've been playing around with this team in Squad Arena, and I have been able to take out the Rey focused Datacron with this team in 3v3 and 5v5. The problem is that the Omicrons are turned off for both sides, so they're not at their peak value. I think it'll work in Territory War, but you don't understand the amount of ramping this team does in the battle. You're able to dispel all the advantage in the beginning of a Kylo team because of the support level 12. You get the buff immunity, you get your queen out and running, your decoy, and I was able to beat the Kylo focused Datacron. The problem is in Grand Arena, I don't know how hard it is going to be because of the Rey Omicrons. I might be able to test it out on my ult account the first match if I see it, but the reason they're on offense is because they are also going to be Galactic Legend killers, but also on defense, they're Padawan Obi-Wan's damage is going to be absurd. I am telling you, if you have the support level 12, that's more than likely the team you're going to want to put it on. Very destructive. And then, guys, I have to talk about the Ladies of the Night, Great Mothers. Absolutely insane. My favorite offensive team right now, by far, because they could take out Ahsoka with Ezra in both 5v5 and 3v3. If you have the speeds locked correctly and you have the Omicron, very easy. High damage spirit. Very good on offense, very good on defense as well. Not easily taken out. So, I do like Great Mothers. Reva, I'm including on the list as well. Reva, I'm more than likely going to use on offense because I will be able to take out JML or Kenobis or any other tough team like that. But on defense, it can definitely throw off your opponent because it kind of requires a tough and difficult counter. Yes, Gungans can take them out. Yes, the Vegito team take it out. But those are kind of expensive teams that are needed for something else. So Reva still is a defensive viable team. Then here, I want to include the new Bad Batch, and I like Omega, Crosshair, and Wrecker. That reason is because I have my support character in the lead, I have my damage dealer as a second in the second slot, and I have my tank in the third. I hope this can take out the Queen team still, even with the support Datacron attached, but I am liking this a lot, and Crosshair is really, really good. His damage ramping is nuts. As long as you're able to actually attack and hit the opponent, very good character and very good team. Now I'm going to include General Skywalker, and if I'm going to put General Skywalker on offense and defense, I want to put him with Rex and 5 specifically because they're just too easily countered with Arc and Echo. It's not a very good defensive team. But paired with the level 6 clone Datacron, a bunch of high defense, Gas will be difficult to take out. I am telling you, the problem with him on offense is the banners. I say this every video. He does not have good banner recovery. It's more than likely going to be a 54 if everyone lives. So that is the issue with Skywalker. But still, he can get you out of a pinch. Very good team. Then we got to talk about Qui-Gon Jinn, and always a very strong team paired with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Anakin. They could take out a bunch on offense. I like using them in the mirror match against the exact same comp. So they're pretty good there. And on defense, it makes your opponent have to think about what do I want to use that's not going to be completely overkill but also cause me to drop. So even being one of the first Omicrons in the game, still viable in Kyber today. Then we got to talk about Traya. Traya with Nihilus and Savage are still very good. My biggest question this season is going to be, can they still take out Gungans with the level 6? They could be very dangerous. We're going to have to see how that goes. But regardless, if you place them on defense, it causes your opponent to have to think. Not many non-GL counters to this team. So if they're going to use a GL like Sith Eternal and you're hiding an Ahsoka Ezra in the back or a Rey something in the back, then your opponent's screwed because you force them to use a Galactic Legend. So Traya, no matter where you use her, is good on offense and defense. Next is two Baldies with Talon. Love these characters. I love Old Republic, my favorite faction, favorite era of Star Wars. But with the Talon level 9, still a very tough team. I have seen this shut down Sidious solo. Talon with the Omicron and, the Datacron. If you have a high armor pen Datacron with the Talon level 9, she hits like an absolute truck, like a diesel engine. Absolutely nut, Twi'lek. Very good character and a really good team. Both viable on offense and defense. Then I have to include this team. I have to include the Captain Enoch team with both of the Death Trooper units from Peridia. This team cost me in Grand Arena last 3v3 season because my CLS lost. The AI played perfectly, and I went through an entire map of difficult teams and took them out easily, and I lost the Grand Arena because of an Enoch team. So I'm including them on the list. They're very good at taking out General Skywalker on offense, but on defense, sometimes the RNG is in your favor, and it could shut down your opponent's CLS counter. So Enoch, very good team. I like them better in 3v3 than 5v5. Then over here, I'm going to include the Zalbar Omicron with Darth Revan and Mission. Very good at taking out Great Mothers, unless you have Zombie in there. I lost that matchup last season as well. But this is a very tough team. If your opponent is placing Gungans on defense, then they're going to have to think of another answer for this. I do like it. I don't think it's the best Omicron in the game, but it still is going to have its use on offense and defense. And the last team I have to include is going to be CLS, and I like including CLS because it can take out a number of teams on offense, but also makes your opponent question what to use on a defensive standpoint. I have seen opponents try to underman this or try to, do some crazy, squads that can't pull it off, and they lose, and it actually won me the Grand Arena. So CLS is still a viable team in 3v3. This team can also take out a Star Killer team on offense. That's probably my biggest go-to for it. So I absolutely love CLS. Still a viable team. But that is going to wrap up this video of the best 3v3 teams of the month of June and July. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if I got anything wrong. Do you guys agree with this list? Is there anything you have questions on or any comments and concerns? Please let me know all in the comment section down below. And I also want to bring up, there's going to be an update to the channel membership. Anyone with the master tier or higher, that means master or lord for the channel, you will be able to participate in a monthly live Q&A with me on stream, where we get to hang out. I get to ask a bunch of questions about the game modes and just like Grand Arena, the new raids, just basically what's going on in the game in a live Discord chat on a live stream with all channel members of Master Tier and higher. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you guys are in that tier or higher, if you want to join that tier, you'll be able to talk to me on a live Q&A basis on a live stream. So wanted to throw that in there, and always a big shout out to my members that do support me. I do appreciate you guys a ton. Come join my Discord if you want to hang out. It's another great area to hang out with me. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel to become an Out of X. And I'll see you guys in the next video. May the Force be with you all.